Hi y'all, I'm Redheaded Neighbor and welcome back to my channel. And today we have Ren and Eden. So this was requested specifically, so I'm going to give it a go. I saw it's quite long, which is interesting to me. You guys said that it's not a song, that it's more of a story. And the title of it is Eden, so I'm going to assume it has some religious overtones, or the whole thing is a religious thing. I'm not sure. But, I saw though that it had the same warning on it that some of his other stuff has. So I'll give you guys a warning. My opinions may not be appropriate to some people, but it is what it is. So yeah. Oh, and please like, comment, subscribe. You know, the same stuff I'm always begging you for. But also, if you would like to support the channel, I do have my CashApp linked. Y'all, I have a completely busted chair because y'all see how I do on this chair when I get into music. So if you would like to support my channel and help get me a chair, it would be appreciated. Don't feel obligated though. Please don't feel obligated. But this chair's busted. If you would like to see pictures of it on YouTube, I would be glad to show you. It might just be fun to show you anyway. I don't know. I'm talking too much. All right.
Let me tell you a story as old as time. The story of Adam and Eve.
Oh, that's cool graphics. Oh, he is gonna give his scenario.
Let me tell you a story as old as time. The story of Adam and Eve. It starts with a God who wanted more. God had just created the heavens and the earth. He had the angels by his side, but they had no will of their own. And so the autonomy to love or reject him was never theirs. All but for one. The once called bringer of light. Lucifer, morning star. Lucifer was the fairest and most intelligent of all the angels. He was the closest thing to God's image, and in his likeliness, Lucifer felt restless. He began to question and doubt God. He doubted the hierarchy opposed upon him. He felt God was arrogant. In his frustration, Lucifer built a throne that stood even above God's and declared mutiny. A war ensued. God, being all-powerful, came out the victor and banished Lucifer from the heavens and exiled him to earth. Once again, God was alone with his power. Perhaps from loneliness, perhaps from curiosity, perhaps from a desire to share love, God began to work on his greatest project yet, a being that would mirror himself, the human, two humans specifically, Adam and Eve. They were placed inside a paradise built for them on earth, the Garden of Eden. In the garden, God placed a tree that bared fruit that would grant anyone who ate it powers bestowed only to a God, to tell good from evil, left from right, to live righteously or to sin. He named this the tree of knowledge. God told Adam and Eve they could eat whatever they wanted in the garden, but never the fruit from the tree of knowledge. And if they disobeyed him, it would be punishable by death. The basic way the story of Eden is told is that Eve was tempted by Lucifer in the form of a serpent to eat a fruit from the tree of knowledge.
The play in my headphones right now. That's really cool.
Convinced, she bit the fruit. She passed it to Adam and he did the same. Suddenly, ultimate knowledge filled their minds and they realized they were naked and felt shame. God discovered this betrayal and felt anger. He exiled Adam and Eve and cursed them with the life of a mortal. They would work, they would bear children, and they would die. The fate of a human.
There's been a lot here that I could talk about, but I won't. But I will say this, that the moment that Adam failed to protect Eve from her wrong thinking and to eat the fruit, and when Adam disobeyed God's command to just don't eat of this tree. You've got everything else. Just leave this one alone. And when they had clear sight at that moment, that is when death entered. That was the death.
Now look deeper.
In the story, the serpent tempted me by telling me I would gain ultimate knowledge and that God would spare me.
Both were true.
This wasn't some great deception, meaning that Satan, in the likeliness of God, perhaps understood his intentions. In fact,
The only lie uttered in the
Garden of Eden was
by God, who did not end up
condemning
Adam and Eve to
death.
This could be seen as an act of
Mercy, but the sheer
They were.
fact that the tree existed and that humans
were initially cut off from this knowledge.
may imply some part of God was afraid
No.
that if humans were granted the gift of perception, they, like Lucifer, would have the power to reject him too. The fact that there stood a beautiful tree that could
grant this knowledge in the first place
implies that a small part of
God, supposedly all-knowing,
perhaps wanted and intended
the humans to
bite too.
In the Bible, Satan was an exiled angel of free will. Humans are exiled
descendants of Adam and Eve.
also with free will. Not only have we shared a similar fate to the devil, we were also both constructed in
We
the
were
image of
also
our
both
Creator,
constructed in the image of our Creator.
meaning our behaviors, in some shape or form, imperfectly echo his.
We could assume that this kind of
God has his doubts,
But
but as the most
powerful
Being in the universe
he has no one above him
to turn to with questions, and no
Because he has no questions. There's a lot here that I could unpack, but there's not enough time. And I think that I understand where he's going with this. I don't expect him to be able to, because he's leaving out, so far, I haven't seen the whole thing, a very important element in the story of Christianity and in Adam and Eve, because not only was there the first Adam, there is the second Adam.
one to
Doubt but himself, an incredibly lonely and isolating existence.
We must only assume that the common thread between God, Lucifer, and us is the desire for more, an eternal curiosity, a desire perhaps birthed from a seed of loneliness. If not, why would we exist in the first place? The constantly looping bittersweet irony is whether gifted by some omnipotent God or simply a byproduct of billions of years of evolution, here we stand in 2023 as creatures with free will, the only creatures that understand and define good from bad, creatures with the potential of a God. And what do we do with that free will, my friends? We willingly walk to the edge of a cliff. In the name of progress, we jump off the precipice. The empires we build ravage the earth. The natural order of things are necessary to survive. Any systems which do not honor homeostasis eventually perish. Our free will overrides our own biological instinct. We can take more than we eat. We can kill more than we need. We can willingly create weapons with the potential to burn everything we've built to the ground. We willingly decide to bow at the altar of greed, the most insidious and destructive of all sins.
Yeah, he's going where I thought he was going to go with this.
We put our faith in corporations who pose as rulers. We willingly allow ourselves to be led by outdated power systems ran by corrupted politicians and bloated dictators who claim domain and dominion over an open and free land.
I like the voice that he chose to use there. What is that, like the devil voice or whatever? That's a nice touch there.
We willingly elect the corrupt.
In a lot of these, I'll hear that kind of like in the backing part of his vocals. Tom McDonald does that a lot too in his, and it kind of gives that layered, you see where it's coming from, kind of.
Ran by corrupted politicians and bloated dictators who claim domain and dominion over an open and free land. We willingly elect the corrupted when the decision was always ours to build something better. We willingly create and impose separation because of beliefs that we are force-fed through our phones and television sets. We always had the will to reject these things, but we adhere to them as though they were the laws of physics. War, famine, pestilence, greed, these aren't things imposed upon us by an all-powerful God or by his demonic adversary. They are here because of us, not because of free will, but because of our inability to use it. We must be motivated to be better, not out of fear of punishment of an eternal damnation, but because the choice exists, because we love ourselves.
I absolutely believe that acting out of love rather than acting out of fear is the only way. I think sometimes fear, like even this right here, the images that he's showing and giving us this view, it does bring about fear a little bit, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh, no, that's not good. I don't want that. I don't want to see where this could continue and go to. So in that aspect, the fear is a good thing. But when you act out of fear rather than love, because if you don't have that undergirding of love in everything that you're doing, it's not going to last, because you'll get over that fear. Someone on our social media device will explain away the need for us to be afraid of the corporations and the big government and Big Brother and all the invasions of your privacy and all the invasions of, of greed that we have, because human beings, we tend to be greedy. We absolutely do. And it's inborn in us. And so, you have to have like that underpinning of love rather than greed. Exactly right.
We must be motivated to be better, not out of fear of punishment of an eternal damnation, but because the choice exists, because we love ourselves, because we have the power to absolve ourselves of so much unnecessary suffering. Take a second to be in this very moment. In this moment, how much suffering is happening all over the planet right now?
Man, that's so hard to look at, isn't it? That's so hard. That is so hard. And here, in the West, our biggest problem is that we're too fat. I mean, we literally, so many of our health scares and stuff is because of we're overweight. And look at this. I mean, how sad is that, And then the food that we do have, so much of it is not nutritious. It's stripped out. I don't know about where you guys are, but here, so much is processed. And anyway, I won't get
very suffering. Take a second to be in this very moment. In this moment, how much suffering is happening all over the planet right now? How many people are dying of illnesses that could have easily been cured, but aren't because of the selfishness and greediness of humanity? How many people break their backs and reject their own passions to simply afford bills and food? How many of us crave distraction from existence? How many of us numb that pain in whatever way necessary?
Man, I love that line. He is not wrong, is he? I think so much, and it's happening at younger and younger ages now that we have handheld devices for even babies. People let their babies be on cell phones, and you need that distraction. I mean, I don't complain about kids being on their cell phones because I'm I am just as bad.
Backs and reject their own passions to simply afford bills and food. How many of us crave distraction from existence? How many of us numb that pain in whatever way necessary? How many children are being abused? How many people sleep cold and hungry on the streets? How many of us become cogs inside a machine that is destroying itself? How many soldiers have been forced to fight in meaningless wars? How many humans have killed for ideals they don't believe in or understand? How many people have died for the greed of another man? And how much of this was avoidable? As written in the Bible, Satan was not condemned to hell. Satan was condemned to earth. He lives there amongst other creatures with free will, who always had the choice and still chose their own undoing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is us.
For a time, he will eventually be bound and cast into the lake of fire. He will be punished for this kind of stuff.
He lives there amongst other creatures with free will, who always had the choice and still chose their own undoing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our self-made hell. The bittersweet irony is this is a creation of our own design. I'll leave you with this. Consider what you have done here today. You have worked together as individuals collaborating to form a giant neural network, a hive mind capable of achieving incredible things. We have lent on each other's strengths to solve puzzles and decipher riddles. And we've done so to win money. Imagine applying that same spirit and determination to creating the closest thing we have to paradise here on earth. By using the power of collaboration, we can work together to even the playing field for everybody. Our dystopias can become utopias. Our Jahannams can become Jannah. Our hells can become heaven, right here on earth. And this sentiment applies to atheists, agnostics, and believers alike. Myself, I'm an agnostic who believes. I believe in us. We must do better because we can choose to. We must be better simply because the option exists. Thank you.
I thought that was excellent. I don't expect him to be a theologian. You know what I mean? But my goodness, the message that he brought on this is, okay, if you're going to take like a Christian or a biblical stance on that, I think one of the big ones, that that is adhered to is to love your neighbor as yourself. And it sounds easy and just almost cliche, but try it. Love your neighbor as yourself, like all the way. If you have 2 coats and you see a man who doesn't have one, you should give him one of yours. That's what the man said. So anyway, yeah, Brandon, I thought that was I love the message in that, as far as if you can make a difference. It's not if you can make a difference, and you should every day put into this world to make it better. If you can't change the world, you can change your home. That's actually where you should start, is in your circle with your family and your friends, and then just work out from there. Because if everybody does their part, like what he's talking about, and are passionate about it, and you really believe that, and it's how you live, it's not just a philosophy that you think. Because a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. You can't have one foot over here and one foot over here. You have to be determined to live like this. And don't be pointing your finger at this guy over here when you're not doing it yourself. So, yeah. Spread love. Spread love to stop the greed. So, 2 thumbs up from this redhead. And yeah, so what next, y'all? I've got a list. Do you want me to just pick from it? Because this one was highly requested. So till next time, y'all.